This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag. It is actually, yes, it's Thursday, really late at night. Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Now I'm going to be splitting this into two parts, but bear with me, all right? This is going to be even shorter than normal on a part one because it's getting very late where I'm at, and just family life is draining me. However, it's not a complaint, it's just what it is. Now, tomorrow, I was going to do a separate show for Backlash, a preview and prediction show, but I'm going to be doing that in conjunction with part 2 of the Mailbag. So it's not going to be its own show. I'm going to do Mailbag. This is obviously part 1. Tomorrow night will be part 2 / the Backlash preview and predictions. So bear with me there. I know that it's not ideal to get everything in 2 shows. You'd rather have it in its own separate one. And anyway, so I wanted to let you know that, but welcome to the WWE Podcast, everybody. I know I've had a few of you lately ask me how to get on Patreon or how to join ad-free. I do mention this nearly every time, I think, but if you're new, here's how you do it. Patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Right there, or Apple. If you have an Apple Podcast app, then you can find us and get an ad-free experience there too. Both of them offer 7-day free trials. So if you want to check us out and give us some love, then I'd appreciate it. And if you don't like us after 7 days, then cool, no problem. But I think that you'll find some value in our ad-free experience. And I also would like to welcome David Sism. Thank you so much. Jacqueline joined. Thank you. Let's see. Jason Miller, I think I did shout out to you. If I didn't, Jason Miller, shout out to you again. And yeah, so I think that's the latest that we have. And, I thought about in some kind of dark way, I was going to give a shout out to the people who have left us, because we do have a few of those people too, right? I don't know. I don't know what the value in that would be other than just kind of, oh, your show sucks, people are leaving. But it's growing, but you always have people that try us and don't like it. And that's cool. I'm not going to shame them for it. It is what it is. I listen to podcasts all the time that I don't like, and I move on. And that's really all I can ask, really, is you guys check us out. And if you like us, stick with us. If you want to listen to us for free, you can, but you got to deal with those pesky ads. All right, let's get to the mailbag here, as patrons, as always, get priority. I'm going to start with the messages directly in Patreon, because I somehow forget those every single damn time. And let's go to Joshua. And Joshua says, "Hey guys, how's it going? Fairly new patron here, but a huge fan and listener. You guys are my go-to podcast at work every day, and I agree with y'all on a lot of things, especially the non-wrestling takes on the dark episodes. Keep it up." Oh boy. You're getting into some dicey topics. If you guys want to know what we're talking about, head on over to the SmackDown side of things. You can check us out on some non-wrestling opinions and takes. So Josh says, I'm going to start watching the Speed matches on X soon. I've been thinking about it. I think WWE could potentially have the greatest cruiserweight division of all time if they brought that belt back now. Ricochet, Finn, JD, Dom, Santos, Kaiser, Gable, Logan Paul, Pete Dunne, Ray, Carmelo, etc. I also think a new mid-card title could really help on Raw to make the 3-hour episodes more exciting. What are your thoughts on bringing back another belt in general, and it being this one? My thoughts are the same as the people who are advocating for the women to have another belt. I understand that we are supposed to believe, and should believe, that those men and women that are there are trying to compete for championships, right? Trying to win championships. That's the ultimate goal. And that should be. And there needs to be titles for people to chase. But here's what happens when you add more belts. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. When you add more of something, everything else means less if there's more of what you're adding. And if there's more belts to go around, that inherently means, whether you like it or not, that all the other championships mean a little bit less if there's more of them to go around. Now, it's not going to be a deal breaker, but I also want programs to be more than just about championships all the time. You know, I want championship or matches to sometimes be about personal grudges, blood feuds, that kind of thing, betrayal. Doesn't always need to be about the U.S. title, the United States, or the Intercontinental title, or whatever. You know, so I think they have the mid-card title belts pretty well entrenched. And I really like where Logan Paul's at. I don't think that adding a cruiserweight championship now, they've tried this a few times, right? Like 201 Live or something. They've tried it multiple times. Under the Vince McMahon regime, he doesn't seem to prioritize it. I don't know how Paul Levesque feels about this. You know, if you were to present this to him, if this would be a top priority for him. You know, it would just be like another championship they have to manage. And really, some of the guys you're mentioning, like Logan Paul, I mean, Logan Paul's already the United States champion. And, you know, we have Dominic, who is probably going to be a future world champion. You have Ricochet, who has been Intercontinental champion before and has proven that he can work with just about anybody. You know, you have some of these guys like Rey Mysterio. You know, like, I understand what you're saying, but I also have no faith that even if they did this, that they would actually, you know, implement it consistently. So until they can manage the championships that they have, especially for the women, I wouldn't add more belts. That said, if they want to make a championship on speed, then maybe there's something to talk about there. I'm just leery, especially with their history of managing the cruiserweight division when it was a cruiserweight division. Outside of a very small, to me, a small parse of time in the late 90s where they actually had some attention paid to it with, who was it? Oh my God, Taka Michinoku. I know he was light heavyweight champion for a while. They called it light heavyweight, but it was the cruiserweight championship. You know, so I think that right now I wouldn't. I also don't know if adding a championship would help fill more time. It should be about feuds, should be about character development, and, you know, trust me, I understand the want for it, but I don't. What would that fix? Like, what problem would this solve? That would be my concern. Or are you adding more liability and, you know, more headaches by adding a new championship? All right, thanks, Josh, and thanks for joining us. Let's go to Frank. This is Patreon member Frank. He says, I want to talk about the WWE draft. I feel like the draft should have been about upcoming talent from NXT to Raw or SmackDown. It would have been more impactful, kind of like what they did with the NFL, because all the ones that were selected from the draft were from NXT, or draft from NXT was more impactful. Secondly, champions can't be selected to other brands. I thought it was not cool because everybody should be selected. It's not about the championship, it's about the star. And finally, I believe that Liv Morgan, maybe I'm not reading that correctly, but they need to build her character up more now, not in a match right away, just to show who she is and what she is. Till next time, which everybody is saying, WWE Podcast. Thanks, Frank. Well, the draft, if they're going to ever really take the draft real seriously, they would watch the NFL draft and how it's done there. You know, and it's done too with the NFL draft is a little different too, because in the NFL draft, you're not choosing existing NFL stars. That's what trades are for. A draft is really, in the NFL sense, is to choose young talent that have yet to be proven in the NFL draft, or in the NFL, period. So the draft is about young talent, period. It's not about established stars in the NFL. But with WWE, that is a little different. I mean, you're trying to assemble the best roster possible, and you can't just have it be about established stars. You're trying to also mix in new talent. So I don't know what message they're trying to send here, because if they're trying to be like the NFL, well, the NFL doesn't do it like this, right? I just explained why. But you don't, if you're trying to assemble the best roster, then why are you also telling us, well, existing stars matter, but young does too? I don't know. I'm not clear on what the goal is and why some of the picks are chosen the way they are. I mean, we don't ever get explanations as to why. And the other thing that the announcers do that really annoy me, and I know that this they feel like this is their job, but this to me is, I don't know if this is a oversell on their point, but every single pick, every single one is the best pick that's ever been made. It's a coup. Oh my God, the Monday Night Raws are going to flourish now. SmackDown is going to, SmackDown's now going to be must-see TV. Like, every pick, no matter who it is or what the group is the best pick you've ever seen in your life. Now, their goal as announcers is to get talent over. I get that. But sometimes that needs to be put by the wayside if they're ever going to take the draft seriously. And this draft, I think, was, while many in WWE felt it went over well, I think the fans felt very underwhelmed by it generally. Not a whole lot changed. We had some mid-card guys swap here and there. Yeah, like Braun Breaker. Okay, he's now on Raw. Big deal. He wasn't really established that much on SmackDown anyway. Okay, Braun Strowman. Well, now we have two Brauns, I know. Braun and Braun. I can't pronounce them differently, but spelled differently. We have Braun Strowman back. Okay, Nia Jax is now on SmackDown. Like, okay, but that's not going to make any headlines. All the champions stay put. And again, as you have said, you guys, patrons, one of our previous patrons just said, it's about the guys and gals that are drafted, not the championships. But they wanted the champions to stay put, which does take a level of interest off the top out of the draft. And you're left with kind of a few top-tier guys. Roman Reigns exempts himself. Seth Rollins is injured. CM Punk is injured. He's not involved in the draft. It is generally, it was one of the most uninteresting drafts of all time. But if their goal is to not put a ton of effort into making the draft feel legit and having the commentators actually have a few picks that say, oh, I don't know about this pick, I don't know how this is going to work, then at least their focus should be, okay, draft is over, who cares? It's all the formality, the number of picks, who got picked at what round doesn't really effing matter. It's just about, now we've assembled the rosters, let's move forward with the stories. Because they can't have the draft be the story unless they want it to be, but I don't see them doing it. So, all right. So I'm trying to see if I answered all your questions. As far as Liv Morgan goes, hey, she's the best version of herself I've ever seen. I was skeptical, very skeptical of the whole revenge tour. It's a revenge tour. I'm on a revenge tour. And then she was going after everyone except the one that she was trying to seek revenge against, until she finally got her, injured her. Now Rhea's on the shelf. Liv Morgan has kind of found who and what she is, I think. But sure, additional interviews, additional promos could help her. In ring, she seems to be improving, and she's easily at the best spot that she's been. Now, I think that she'll be women's world champion by the time Rhea Ripley comes back. I mean, that seems to be the story they want to tell. I really don't want Becky and Rhea again. Not that they put on a bad match, but I'm ready for Rhea Ripley to go after Liv, because when Rhea comes back, she's going to be a mega babyface. I mean, she was already knocking on the door of that. She'll be there by the time she returns. Okay, so let's go to our next patron. Let's see, Deanna. Deanna says, hi, Matt. I really like Gunther, but the dude needs to stay off the top rope. He looks like an uncoordinated spider coming off the... Yeah, he's... Some guys just aren't meant to come off the top rope. Some guys just need to stay on the ground and pound or chain wrestling or striking. Some guys just don't look right coming off the top. I would agree that Gunther, while I think he has almost no holes in his game, does look awkward coming off the top rope. He's a big dude, though. And, that kind of tells you if he doesn't look right coming off the top, then keep him off the top rope. You don't need him to have to try to do something he's not good at. I think that stick to what you're good at. Stick to the basics. I know that you're trying to evolve. You're trying to show the fans what you can do. You're trying to make the most of your character, but not everyone needs to do the same moves. Size and coordination matter. And I would agree. Gunther, I mean, again, it's not something I've complained about in the past. Lord knows I like complaining, and that's never been one of mine. But now that I've heard the complaint, now I can't unhear it or unsee it in this case. All right, let's go to Justin. And Justin says, first off, I'd like to start with a complaint. Oh, right in my wheelhouse, Justin. Let's go. Last week on Raw, you didn't mention Cody Rhodes a single time. I pay good money to hear those long rants. It feeds my adrenaline and my soul. Whoa. Oh, I love the puns. I love it. I know some of you guys don't like the dry humor. It's right up my alley. I need to take a break from the Cody rants. And to be fair, they've kind of taken a break of, the Cody promos and that thing. It's been very formulaic as of late, and I also need a break from it too. We'll have enough time to complain about him more. But if you want one that I haven't really talked about, it is Cody Rhodes doing a round of picks with Triple H. That has been something that, boy, you talk about a guy that is just in his hands or in everything. That's been a complaint for me for a long time. And even The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, has said that Cody gives him heel vibes. It feels, because it's true. I mean, when you look at Cody, he's this well put together, always smiling, right? And that's always, like, you guys know, I can't stand that. He's just got this kind of condescending tone at times. His vocabulary, we've mentioned many times on this show, like he's trying to show off how many words he knows. Always wearing a suit, bringing his dog. It's just D-bag type of vibes. And it's gonna be awesome when he turns heel. I will be one of the first people to come on here and give that round of applause for a heel turn, but I don't think it's going to happen. At least not in 2024. When the calendar turns to 2025, maybe we have something to talk about, but they're on a run right now. He's on a run right now. There's no need to cut it short and try something else when you're on a path that you desire to be on, or you're at a spot where you desire to be. So, no, I would, I could keep going with Cody, but he's insufferable as a babyface. To me, he is. Don't worry. Those longer rants that get me fired up are coming, but it's also almost midnight here. So my energy level is also pretty low. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of boring Bex being women's champ again. WWE uses her as the gatekeeper of the belt, and I just don't see the hype. She's been the same character for a few years and hasn't developed any new in-ring skills. Meanwhile, we've got Nia Jax and Liv Morgan who have worked their asses off to better themselves and continue to go nowhere. I just hope one of them gets a title run, as I think they deserve it. Becky Lynch does feel like she's stuck in time. And that's not a good thing. Here's the thing. I also don't question her work ethic. I don't sit there and go, she just doesn't care anymore. She's just not putting the effort in. I really don't believe that's the case. She's tried different outfits. She put hair extensions back in after she cut her hair going heel. But she didn't. The biggest mistake she made is twofold. After her heel run that was not so successful was the fact that when she went back to being the man character, she went back to being the 2018 version of the man character. That's the problem. or the WrestleMania 35, so 2019, she went to a place that we've already been, and she didn't try to branch out to do something different. Her music's the same. Her mannerisms are the same. 5 years later, she's still saying, the man has come around till Milwaukee or wherever she's at. You know, the same lines. She's had a couple of stinker promos, especially in NXT, where she was trying to rhyme. That was just horrible. She does have some annoying tics about her. I've laid those out with her promos and things, and she's always. Yeah, I've gone into it. So there's that, and also number 2, she got stuck, and this is not really any fault of her own, in a program with Trish Stratus that just made her ice cold. It just did, and it didn't get good until the very last match. Remember that? I think it was a cage match with Trish Stratus. I mean, they killed it in that match. And that's the first time the fans are like, ooh, I could take a little more of this. And then the program ended. That was the final. That was the blow off. You know, so they certainly saved the best for last. But she felt like she was in that program for 6 months. I mean, it was just on and on and on and on and on. And a lot of it wasn't super interesting. Some of it was good. A lot of it was like kind of right? So it was a combination of being stale, not any significant evolution of her character, same music, same promos, and she's stuck in a program that's just kind of meh for a long period of time. That's really where it is. And how do they fix it? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, they just need to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I don't know if turning someone heel is the easy knee-jerk reaction answer. I don't think that that's the case here, because they've tried that, and the fans don't want to boo Becky. Like they don't want to. So, also, everyone thinks Jade Cargill will be the one to turn on Bianca, but I think it'll be Bianca that makes the heel turn. It's a long-awaited heel turn that we've been wanting to see for so long, and I think that would be perfect to swerve and the opportunity for WWE to turn her heel. Then she can cut off that long braid. Yeah, I mean, if turning Bianca heel will get her to cut her braid, hallelujah. The only reason I don't like the braid, for those of you that think I'm, are probably racial undertones. No. I've already explained why I don't like the braid. I don't care if she was white, green, black, pink. I don't care what her skin color is. I can't stand that she comes out twirling it as if she's skipping her way, at recess in elementary school. I mean, just like she's playing hopscotch on the way to the ring. It's so off-putting. It immediately sends an immature vibe out to me as the viewer. Like you're a kid twirling your hair around. Like, I understand it's a staple of her entrance, and I'm speaking probably on deaf ears, but yeah, I've seen her without the braid. I think she looks awesome without it. It'd be a nice change. But no matter what I say here, I'm sure some of you are like, in the culture we live in today, you know what some people are saying about me as a white guy talking about a black woman's hair. Apparently I can't have any opinions about it unless it's the right one. And if any criticism is not because of her hair, but because I'm racist, yeah, whatever. Like, sure. I don't care. Sure. That's like, if that's what you think, not you, Justin, but I know some people that listen to this are just trying to create something out of nothing. I can't be any more objective than that. So let's continue. But again, yeah, as far as Jade being the one to turn, honestly, here's the thing. It's easier for someone to get booed, especially when they're new, than it is to get cheered, because cheering has to come with some kind of accolade, some kind of respect that has been built. Jade has zero of that. I mean, okay, she dumped Nia Jax out of the Royal Rumble. She had a big entrance. She's got a superstar look. But right now, all we're cheering when we see Jade is how she looks. Okay, that's it. Because she's done absolutely nothing in the company. As far as in-ring and contributing to the company, she's done nothing yet. Zero. A 10 out of 10 look. Entrance music I like her lighting, I like all of it. It's very good. But she's contributed nothing. So I think it's all going to depend on how long that Jade and Bianca team up. The turn is coming. It's just a matter of who. I think Bianca as a heel turn, I've been advocating for that for a long time, and maybe they do that, but eventually they're going to eventually turn Jade. But you know what? Even Bianca, it's been a long time coming, I would agree. I'm trying to talk myself into both of them. I mean, I could see both of them being successful heels. Jade, who's just kind of this overconfident, my matches are 3 moves long. Eventually that's going to wear thin on the fans. Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Bianca has been a babyface for like 6 years, and it's getting a little bit monotonous. All right. Okay, finally, I'd like to mention this Saturday at the Menon Sports Arena in Morristown, New Jersey, is an 80s wrestling con followed by an indie show. ISPW wrestling guys like Jake the Snake, Sergeant Slaughter, Tony Atlas, the Four Horsemen, Powers of Pain, Bill Apter, and many more that are going to be there. Definitely worth checking out if you're in the area. So, guys, if you want to see guys like Jake the Snake, Sergeant Slaughter, Tony Atlas, Four Horsemen, check it out. Where? At the Menon Sports Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. So check it out if you guys are in the area. I know some people that listen in New Jersey, so there you go. Free promo there, Justin. All right. Couple more here in the inbox. Let's go to Alex, the French guy. He says, hello, Matt. About to come out on the show and give the in-person perspective about Backlash. Let me know what's time. Oh, thank you. This is so sad. Alex, thank you for reminding me. Okay, maybe I can come with you to record the weekend review, or with Anthony, or another show. You tell me. Yeah, if you don't need time. So Alex, I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm going to imagine you're about 6 hours ahead of me. So for me, I think Backlash airs at was it like 10 a.m. or something weird? But if we can get on, oh boy, I'm going to have to think how we're going to do this. Just message me tell me what time zone you're in, and we could figure out a time to connect. All right, let's do it that way. All right. Let's talk to AJ. He says, can somebody explain to me why this little troll called Tony Khan keeps WWE's name in his mouth? Not sure if you caught his interview during the NFL draft where he is referred to WWE as Harvey Weinstein. He wants to point out all the bad things WWE does, yet can't seem to see his own product going down the toilet. Instead of worrying about WWE, he should focus his company on not trying to give away free tickets to his shows that no one seems to want. It's so funny. I was just listening to another podcast about this, and they brought up some good points. This feels, by Tony Khan, and I did see it. It feels Bush League. All right. It does. Tony Khan clearly is trying to get attention, and he feels that social media attention, regardless of what kind it is good, which I think is a false conclusion. Not all attention's good attention, despite the famous controversy creates cash tagline. But it's a bad idea to label the implication being that anyone who watches WWE is watching a Harvey Weinstein product, right? Bad. You're alienating a lot of your own audience, you fool. You're losing when you have to keep bringing up your competition to get attention. It's not a good sign. If you are winning, you don't give that free publicity because it's foolish to do so. Tony Khan is, first of all, I saw the segment where, who was it, Jack Perry attacked him, which is the weakest punch to the solar plexus I've ever seen. A horrible sell by Tony Khan. And then they went for a tombstone pile driver of sorts that was insanely delayed. I mean, it looked cartoonish. It was bad. Now, it's not to say AEW is all bad. I barely talk about AEW. I really do, because it's it's something that I don't have time to watch. But when I do see clips, I feel like I can speak on them. And I know even if I don't understand the context of the story, I can still look at something and be like, yeah, that didn't look good, or it did. I mean, I have a pair of eyes. And that looked horrible, and it was embarrassing. It just was. However, here's one good thing I will say. Despite the fact he's alienating half his audience, forcing them to choose what product to watch, just a bad overall business strategy. Horrible. And just desperate for attention. I appreciate the sell. I appreciate the neck brace sell. Something that I think is not often done enough. I mean, how many times do you see somebody get their ass kicked on Raw or SmackDown? I mean, absolutely beat to a pulp. And the next week, they're out on Raw or on SmackDown smiling, just having a match. It's like, well, what is the point of this violent beatdown? What can we at least have a neck brace, an arm brace? Yeah, can we have a sling on your arm? Can we do something? You know, like, I think that just as a concept has lost its art. You don't need to do it for every match, but when something significant happens and you come back next week, I think it's a great idea to do some kind of brace or whatever the injury is and where it happened. You can make it look like the effects are still on you. And Tony Khan, at least I do appreciate that. Outside of it, horrible. Just horrible. All right. Let's go to our next patron, and this is Matt. He says, I was just listening to your show talking about the first Raw during COVID. I had tickets to that Raw. I was supposed to be in my hometown of Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm still mad I didn't get to see Stone Cold live. I remember sitting at a bar in a restaurant the Wednesday before the show when all the pro and college sport events were getting canceled. My buddies and I were holding out faith that WWE wouldn't cancel the show, but they did. Like I said, still mad about it to this day. Hey, I feel you, man. I mean, that's maybe a once in a lifetime show where you get to see Austin live. You know, I feel that. You're all jacked up. You're ready to go. And wham. The first week that's canceled is the one with Austin 316 on March 16th, 2020. I don't even know if I could get myself to watch anything back from that period. It'd be really difficult to watch. Just it brings back so many painful memories. Some interesting ones too. You know, it wasn't all bad. If you love theatrics, you love that era. You love the very much cinematic version of the company that they got to experiment with all their PLEs, all their wacky matches. They're like swamp matches. Remember the Bray Wyatt match was it Braun Strowman? I mean, they did some really wacky stuff. But it wasn't all bad, but it's still just seeing no crowd is just like, wow. You wonder how we all lived through it. But I appreciate, of course, WWE for keeping us all sane during that time. And I feel for you. My own pain is also with you with Austin because I could have gone to the Raw. I don't know how old you are. That Austin, right before WrestleMania 15, it was the go-home show for WrestleMania 15 in Albany, New York. The go-home show. And I didn't go. I don't remember why. I don't remember how. I don't remember why I didn't. And I was 14 years old, 15 years old. And wrestling was as hot as it could be. And what happened? What happened that night? Well, I don't know. Austin brought in the beer truck, sprayed the corporation down, The Rock, Shane McMahon, Vince. And then we got a match at the end of the night between Paul White, who was not yet then known as the Big Show, versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin hit a couple of stunners, a couple of chair shots. I mean, it just, it torches my ass to this day. So I feel your pain. Mine was by choice, though, so I don't know if that's worse. Probably it is because I'm not downplaying your pain, but it also makes it worse because it was my own doing. It wasn't something out of my control. I could have gone. But I don't remember why I chose not to. Oh, yeah. Well, next time Austin's anywhere near the area, you should go. You got to go. Okay, let's talk to DJ Kuzmo. He says he's back at it again on our Mailbag show, and quickly before he gets to his predictions, he wants to mention two things. Is WWE Creative working on probably forming some sort of Logan Paul faction of celebrities that most people hate? Case in point, this Monday with Patrick Mahomes and Logan Paul were, quote, working together to take down Jey Uso with Mahomes' Super Bowl rings. I don't think so. Putting together a faction of celebrities is a bad idea generally, because 9 out of 10 of them don't take it seriously. How many times have you seen, especially during WrestleManias, where the celebrities can't take a bump, don't know how to throw a punch? It's just, and you also know the celebrities are usually going to get the ones to be, standing tall over the wrestlers, and they embarrass the wrestlers. Like, it's always been horrible. No, I don't think so. But he'll continue to be shown with celebrities to show you that he's got status, right? It's about status for Logan Paul. That's what they're trying to show you. Number 2, I will say this for the millionth time. We miss Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan, and hopefully for the year ends, we get a Mailbag takeover. I'll keep trying, DJ. I've already explained to you, there's no bad blood. No bad blood. They just fell off the face of the earth. Maybe they're listening to this, and if you guys are, if Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan are listening to this, hey, you guys are always welcome back. You're always welcome back. You're always welcome on the show. The fans clearly miss you. The listeners. I don't know if I call you guys the fans, but listeners. So, yeah, hey, DJ, we're in the same boat. I just don't know what to do. I'm not going to keep being pestered. I'm not going to pester them like a crazy ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. Boys can be crazy too. So that's where we're at. No bad blood. Nothing happened. Things just kind of fell off. Okay, let's get to your predictions. This is your Backlash, not WrestleMania Backlash predictions. Thank you, DJ, for pointing that out. Cody versus AJ Styles for the first time ever. You're saying Cody retains, but will this matchup be the start of other matches or just a one-off for Cody until he gets his next opponent? I think it's a one-off. I mean, they just shook things up a little bit. You have potentially Baron Corbin versus Cody. I mean, there's some guys and gals, or guys and gals, guys that you could put against Cody. I wouldn't hate if they go a second round. I mean, AJ Styles is a world-class wrestler. But number 2, Priest versus main event Jey Uso for the World Championship. I got Priest retaining because the Judgment Day looks like a different group without Rhea, and Priest has to be the one to kind of keep the group afloat while as champion. Number 3, Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley for the Women's Championship. Bayley retaining, but the personal feud between Stratton and Naomi will probably continue for another month. Meanwhile, Nia Jax might be Bayley's next opponent. Jade Cargill and Bianca versus the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Championships. You have Bianca and Jade winning the tag titles as the dominoes continue to fall for Damage Control. I wonder, since Damage Control is now a Raw group, it will continue as it is, or will this group disband and add a 5th member? No, we don't need a 5th. I'm all for disbanding. I've been advocating for Damage Control to disband since they almost debuted at SummerSlam 2 years ago. I mean, outside of that, like a few weeks or a few months after, I was just like, okay, things, clearly they don't have a priority for them. They're just, Bayley was hidden in the group. And you also have Asuka now. When is the last time Asuka meant this little? I mean, Asuka is invisible. Asuka is invisible in that group. So no, adding more people would make it worse. All right, lastly, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton and KO. So you got Sikoa and Tonga winning just so that this new version of the Bloodline gets some sort of winning streak and the all-important momentum streak going. Either after the match or during the match, we get the debut of another Bloodline member in Jacob Fatu. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I would agree. And DJ Kuzma signing off. Enjoy Backlash. See y'all in Discord chat for Friday Night SmackDown in France. Yeah, no Veer Mahan report and Wrestler X report to be announced on a future day. Yeah, no Veer Mahan is gone. So, yeah, you'll have to come up with something else, DJ. But, I would, a lot of these predictions, to kind of say the least, I think are solid. I won't tip my scale too much. But I would also say this is probably not going to be a massive star power event, even though it's in France. I don't think you're going to see Roman Reigns. There's, I think, probably a 0.1% chance Roman Reigns returns. I think they're going to really string this out towards SummerSlam. The longer we go here, the bigger the star power is going to be, the more returns that are going to happen. As I've laid it out, there's like 5 or 6 big stars that are still looming out there that are either injured or just taking time off. Roman Reigns and The Rock, right? Seth Rollins, CM Punk. I mean, you got Charlotte. You know, there's a good amount of people out there that we have yet to see come back. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's see. I don't want to do too many more here. Let's talk to Dino. He says, it's Dino from Scotland. I've officially changed my name to Dino from Scotland on Patreon, so it's easier. Thank you. In response to last week, it's not the euro we use over here. It's pounds and pence. And when you convert 175 pounds to dollars, it's actually $210 as opposed to 187 when converted from euros, which means the combo tickets for SmackDown on Friday and Clash on Saturday, the crappiest seats for me and my father in your currency, comes to a total of $840. At the time of me sending this email, there's thousands of tickets still available, but assuming they offer single tickets for each night closer to the time, they'll begin selling more, and Clash, you'd think, would then sell out at that point, as it would be cheaper for a single ticket. That's still brutal. That made it worse. That made it worse, Dino. Oh my God. I see why you don't want to attend. And then you guys got the big football tournament over there. I mean, I see. There's no way they're going to sell out. I have an idea for Undertaker, which I'd like yours and the listeners' thoughts on. What would you guys think about him being the SmackDown GM at some point in the near future or later down the road as Mark Calloway? I've seen his show 6 Feet Under on YouTube, and he was talking about his spot at Mania this year and not wearing the full hat and coat. He said that part of him is retired or something along those lines. So I thought, what a great idea for him to be the SmackDown general manager as himself, Mark Calloway, down the line if Nick Aldis ever wanted to return to the in-ring action, and thus allowing him to be back on the screen every week. He seems like to be in Gorilla or backstage somewhere a lot of the time anyway. Let me know what you guys think. You know, not the worst idea in the world. But with this role, first of all, you'd have to understand why we're doing it. I mean, is it really to bring Nick Aldis to the ring? Or is it to get Undertaker back on TV? Is it both? I don't think it would be... Here's my conflicting thoughts. Would it be cool to see Undertaker back on TV? Yes. But Undertaker in a corporate setting, having to be the corporate stooge, pulling the company line, trying to create good shows, at least on, in character anyway, trying to deal with people's feuds, all these things. It seems so outside his character. And I understand at the same time that Mark Calloway has really pulled back the curtain on his career. I mean, the inner workings, everything is on the table now. He doesn't hold back. His character is no longer protected. I understand all that. But to see The Undertaker in a corporate role, it doesn't seem to fit. But then again, you could say, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mr. Anti-Authority, was GM. Yeah, but he did things his own way, and corporate came down on him for it. I'm going to say I don't want that. I'm cool with just the occasional appearance for a chokeslam and a tombstone, which we obviously saw at WrestleMania. That should have been Stone Cold's spot. But Undertaker got the nod, and I'm happy for him. But I wouldn't do that. And Nick Aldis right now is such a perfect GM. Perfect. He may be one of the best GMs we've ever had. So, thank you, Dino. Okay. Let's talk to Milan. And Milan says a few things. I really hope Solo and Tonga beat RKO. I hate saying that because I like Randy, but I can't take this new Solo seriously until he starts winning some matches. A stronger Solo makes for a better story with Roman and the Bloodline down the road. I couldn't agree more, Milan. Solo has not had the best record as of late. And I mean, even over the last year, it's been very bad. If you remember, Cody Rhodes was the first one to beat him prior to WrestleMania 39. But he has not had a great track record as of late. However, I think in the minds of fans, most fans, he has been repaired to a large degree because he's now leading the bloodline. We can kind of see where this is going. We know that Roman's going to return. How does he deal with this takeover of the bloodline in his absence, not taking orders from Paul Heyman? How does this all shake out? Most fans are more intrigued in that and thinking about that in Tama Tonga rather than, oh my God, Solo Sikoa hasn't won a match. Now, it's not that it's not important. I think it does become important at some point because Solo does need victories. In short, yes, he does need to start winning matches to make him feel more dangerous, more of a threat to the eventual, I think, tag team match between Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns and The Rock at SummerSlam. That's my guess right now. Number 2, who has a better shot of winning the next title? Liv over Becky or Drew over Priest, I presume, at Clash at the Castle. Hoping for both to happen, but I'll at least take one. I would say probably Liv over Becky because Drew over Priest. Drew should win at Clash at the Castle, but I think Becky could lose before then. Liv, depending on when Rhea Ripley's coming back, see, that's the whole key. If I knew when Rhea Ripley was coming back, that would immediately tell me whether or not Liv is going to win now, in a month, in 2 months, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's before or after Clash at the Castle. So without that piece of information, I still would say Liv over Becky, but Drew over Priest also has a heck of a sell on it. So, number 3, usually there's a letdown after WrestleMania, but this year feels bigger than normal. I think it's because of The Rock's story was so great, and it's on hiatus right now along with Roman. I think Cody's story was better when he was chasing the belt. Now that he's got it, I'm just not feeling it, at least not yet. Roman didn't shake your hand after a contract signing and tell you good luck. He beat the crap out of you. That's interesting. Now that the whole finish the story goes away, what are we clinging on to now? That's a great point. It's no longer finishing the story. It's what's next. Who's next? No, I'm not trying to pretend or hope Goldberg is the next guy. I wasn't trying to make a pun there. But literally, that is a good question. That's a very good question. Story's over. At least that chapter. Now what? All right. Let's see. But yeah, it doesn't feel like this is as big of a letdown as previous years. That said, again, there's a lot of big star power still missing that we haven't got back yet. I mentioned 4 or 5 of those names a few minutes ago. Alrighty. Thank you, Milan. And let's go to one more email. And then I know there's other patron emails, guys. I will get to your other emails tomorrow. Okay. So if you're like, hey, I'm a patron, you didn't read my email. I will. Okay. I promise. I see it. And how I see it? I see Clayton. I see Levi. I see Freeman. Okay. You 3 I will get to tomorrow. Now, actually, I'm sorry. Levi I'll get to right now. He's the shortest of the emails, which is why I'm getting to him. So let's go to Levi, and we have a final email for the night. He says, hey, Matt, I just wanted a quick opinion on scenario on Brock Lesnar's return, whenever that may be. To me, logically, he has to immediately go after Cody Rhodes. As per the stipulation at SummerSlam 2022, if Lesnar lost, he would not be able to challenge for the title as long as Roman Reigns was champion. He's no longer a champion. I know that we saw this feud last summer, but why would Lesnar not immediately go for the champion? Or is this something that we hope we forgot about? Side note, has the CGI and entrances gone away since WrestleMania, or am I so used to seeing it that I don't want to? No. Triple H has decided we don't need it. And I would also agree with that. It was a distraction. To me, I'm a bit more old school. The set has shrunk. The CGI has been very much limited, and I like it. But I don't want Brock Lesnar immediately going for a championship. Brock Lesnar doesn't need a championship. We also don't want someone who's a champion that's also another absentee champion. I think we've all had enough of that for the rest of our lives with Roman. But no, here's the thing. Brock can just get in a program and just F5 someone because he wants to. And WWE won't even have the respect to tell their fans why he's doing what he's doing. I mean, we saw that with the Cody Rhodes feud. In their 3 matches, we never, ever got an explanation as to why Brock Lesnar did what he did. Never. So they don't need to come up with anything wildly creative or thought-inducing. They can just kind of pick a heel or a babyface, and Brock can be both, and then have Brock face them at, presume, maybe SummerSlam, wherever he's going to make his return, wherever that'll happen, I don't know. But, yeah, I think that he probably won't chase a championship because that's not where he needs to be positioned, I don't think. That's how I view it. But again, we also saw the Cody Brock program 3 times or 3 matches last year. Thanks, Levi. All right, we'll pause there. I'll get to tomorrow, guys. Freeman, Clayton, Levi. I know that Levi, you had a short email, but I think you have a longer one here. We're going to pause here, and we'll get to your 3 emails tomorrow, along with as many voicemails as I can rattle off tomorrow, and that'll do it. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, consider going to Patreon, guys. Great time to do it with all of our preview and prediction shows, our review shows for Backlash. All of those are coming to you as soon as we can, and great time to go ad-free because it's not only a really good value, but you also get everything for free for 7 days. So if you want to try us for the PLE weekend and not have to commit anything, you can do that with a 7-day free trial on both Apple and on Patreon. So head on over there. That'll do it for me tonight, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.